What's going on? It's Justeeni here. Today, I've got another really interesting game featuring Fanny, of course, because every game I play against this guy is very interesting. Let's just not dilly-dally at all. We're getting right into things. It's a continents game, Aquarion versus Kiku, and it's probably not at all going to go the way that you would expect this sort of thing to go. I get a pretty bad start because my resources don't match. So I develop very slowly, but I expand peacefully because it's continents. I do get a star rune to make up for things. And yeah, I'm preparing for aquaculture, get an explorer to see what's up. And yeah, got a good amount of villages to work with. This kind of extra continent here with a village. And then, yeah, I get a vet sword, not ideal. Yeah, not too much is happening in the early game. Go for aquaculture now. This is just completely standard. Everything looks normal. Looks like it's about to be a big naval battle. Kind of what you would expect from this sort of matchup. Either Kiku's going in the water early or Kiku's going markets, and it looks to be the former. I get some riders, prepare to fight. I get climbing. And again, I'm getting ready for marine life now. Get another explorer so I can really get some good vision. With climbing, it gives me a lot of vision here. And there's bridges already. That's interesting. And I have definitely lost the race to this continent. My warrior gets shot at, which is a little bit rude. But I can get my first crab. Pretty slow. But, you know, it's not too bad. We delay marine life for a turn to kind of develop some more. And yeah, I see a lot of starfish at least. We're getting a bit out expanded, but I'm hoping that the starfish will kind of make up for things. It'll boost my economy a lot. And I've got really good naval control here. I get a nice border growth. It's a lot of control and a lot of potential for crabs. And speaking of potential for crabs, you will see some potential for crabs. I'll put it that way. Now navigation, just slurping up all those starfish and developing some more. Now waterways. So I'm getting some vision, and yeah, Fanny is just not on the water anymore. He just decided to change his mind. Instead he has archers. Now I cannot attack into him really, because he's just going to defend with his archers. So how do I approach this? Now he gets a wall. Walls are super good against Aquarion, so this is quite annoying. I'm going for the starfish over here. But what do I do here? So I go for another crab, just kind of developing even more. Another crab. And yeah, sure enough, just gonna have really solid archer defense. I can't really do much about that. So I decided to do the only appropriate thing in this situation, just develop. Another border growth, setting up some more development opportunities. And yeah, we're just kind of both sitting here. And it's gonna be one of those games, actually. You'd think it would be very dynamic, very, very crazy game. With Kiku and Aquarion. Nope. Complete opposite. Now we see markets from Fanny. And now we see markets from myself. It's gonna be a very, very long game. So strap in. Things are gonna get a little crazy. One thing that you'll notice here is I do have a city disadvantage. I have only 6 cities, whereas Fanny has what looks to be at least 8. But I'm trying to do what I can. You can kind of see just building my markets. This was a 24-hour game, so I had time to actually plan my markets and make sure they were good. But yeah, one thing you can really see here coming into play is a construction tech as fertilize, which means I can chop any forest and then just basically max out my windmills really easily without needing like spiritualism or something. And that's really, really nice for getting these markets going, because it's going to give me a very high market potential, and it's going to give me a lot of population because I'm using windmills instead of sawmills. And now there's a very annoying catapult line on defense, so we're both just kind of setting up. More development, another border growth to take some more space. And then I just decide, screw it, Philo. Let's get a Mindbender too. Just in case I like try to attack in, I can heal my crabs. Yeah, of course I have to get Philo whenever the chance arises. I'm building up some units because I see Fanny is doing the same. I'm trying to also build my economy at the same time. Just kind of make sure, you know, I'm not caught lacking in either department. Now, I'm getting my tridents ready. Do a lot more managing, get more Mindbenders. You see just more development, more unit buildup. Fanny now has Mindbenders too. And I'm trying to set up, again, just an unbreakable wall with these jellies and Mindbenders, which you've probably never ever seen. But that's what we're doing. Still building the eco. I'm now at a point where I can train an 8-star unit in every city, and I still have more eco, so I'm just training all the units I can. Like, I'm actually literally pop capped, so I'm having to disband units so then I can train even more. We're at that point, and then I'm getting even more crabs. I don't even know how many crabs there are at this point, and it's just going to keep going. And also, you remember what turn I bought meditation on. So now Fanny starts attacking, builds the bridge, and you can see these level 3 cities, both with walls, are very annoying because these are my only points that I can attack. And it's annoying for a few reasons. Because the first thing is it's a wall, it's really hard for Aquarion to break through unless you get puffers. The second thing is they're not level 5 cities or level 4, they're level 3. I really want to use cloaks to attack here, but I can't because the cities are too low level. And this is going to prove to be a problem for the rest of the game pretty much, because Fanny just refuses to level up these cities. And you'll kind of see, trying to do my thing, more crabs. Just look at this. Have you ever seen anything like this? Now I've got puffers. I tend to not really play late game Aquarion much, and I think it definitely shows because I'm trying to figure out like, what do I actually do? Now I get mining for, that's right, even more crabs. And yeah, I've got tridents, puffers, crabs, jellies, Mindbenders. I can trade pretty well into stuff. Get some more crabs. Everything's bubbled. I have aquatism and archery now to get even more defense bonus. I have a ton of star per turn because of these beautiful markets that I have. Unfortunately, there is a bomber in the fog, and these knights are just defending. Yeah, this bomber is going to be quite the problem. But now I get cloaks. I'm hoping that these Mindbenders are my answer to bombers. I also get spiritualism, get the defense bonus on these jellies so then they can deal more damage and are harder to kill as well. But with these games, you can kind of see where Aquarion actually struggles in the late game, because what happens is these kind of become like chip battles, and you'd think having jellies would help you chip more effectively than the opponent, but no, unfortunately bombers are actually very good at chipping. It does not help that I'm at a city disadvantage, but you'll kind of see over time, it's really just this southern city that's just going to keep flooding units in, and it's just going to be too difficult to stop. So at some point I need to make an attack, and that's the goal with these cloaks. Also, I have every tech. I just slammed down a Tower of Wisdom to get yet another crab, and sure, let's get one more. I'm almost maxed out on crabs. I say almost because yes, I am almost maxed out on crabs. I am not maxed out yet. You haven't even seen my full potential. But yeah, the bombers are arriving, and this is going to give me a serious headache. And the rammers are doing a great job defending the bombers here. Aquatism rammers, quite strong. Trying to pressure as much as I can in the west because I have a lot more naval control here in the west. The problem is there's a bunch of catapults and mine benders, which are actually really problematic. Trying to defend in the east. Get a crab push to kill the bomber. Incredible for the content. Get a cloak, but you can see I only get a few daggers. It's better than nothing though, so I figure it's worth still doing. I want to hit the city in the west, but I can't quite reach it. I'm trying to chip away at the bombers. Because if those bombers stay alive, it's going to cause problems. I get another crab. And unfortunately, though, with the crabs, is they're not actually going to help me against what Aquarion struggles with, which is the bombers. Look at the bomber value. I have mindbenders as a way of trying to deal with the splash, but it's not going to be enough, and this problem's only going to get worse. If I can't do something in the west soon, I will lose this game. But how do I break through this? Well, I try to send some tridents into chip. I managed to get a siege with the jelly, sending everything up, trying to damage these giants as much as possible so then I can get my trident through because these giants are providing a really good zone of control. But if I just get one gap, I can just throw a trident in and it'll kill every single catapult, which will be amazing here. I would need a second trident to kill the mindbender, but that should be pretty doable. Problem is, I need to kill the giants, and I can't damage them quickly enough. They get out-healed by the mindbenders. I get another crab, because that's gonna help me. Another bomber, and I just can't quite break through. I'm able to deal with the knights pretty well. Jellies are making it so that I don't need to space my units at all, which is really nice, but unfortunately the bombers still exist, so I can't really not space my units and call it a day. I still have to deal with the consequences of my actions because of bombers. But I'm trying everything I can. I get another trident in. I finally take out one of the catapults and this bomber. Maybe I can finally get some progress in the west because of that. Sending all of these crabs in, doing everything I can. I can't send my crabs in though because of the mindbender. I get a cloak here so I can finally start doing some damage. And if I can get a cloak chain here, that might just do things. Again, if I can just take one city in the west, that's going to completely turn things around. It's going to give me a foothold to work with. But unfortunately, the bomber is going to allow this knight to chain through everything. And in fact, this crab dies now, and these crabs are dying here. And while I killed one catapult, unfortunately there's many more, there's many bombers. I can't attack in the east just at all, straight up. And even worse than that is I'm losing my defense in the east as well, because all my units are dying to the bombers and the juggernauts and the rammers. But I'm trying my best to hold on. I've got some mindbenders to help heal my puffers when the juggernauts come in. Trying to do everything I can. As overpowered as jellies are, unfortunately, they're not gonna work quite as well in the late game because the main thing that makes jellies so good is their cost efficiency, but I have all the stars I could ever want. And unfortunately, there's no breakthrough in the west, and the east is falling apart. And everything is going to go terribly for me. I go for a little funny, flex my star count, and then resign the game. But yeah, I thought this game was pretty funny, seeing some Aquarion mindbenders because mindbenders for the content, and kind of seeing how Aquarion functions in the late game, or kind of their shortcomings here, with catapults and bombers being my main demise, especially bombers. But overall, I think it was a pretty interesting game. There are a lot of stuff you can see here with Aquarion that you normally never see. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Like and sub, and have a good one.